Hi, everyone. Raul Jimenez here with the Shredder Group, and I'm joined with Cody Carrasquillo, co-founder of REV Mortgage, a local lender here in town. And we're going to dive into the VA benefits and loan information that I think a lot of the viewers are curious about, but they just don't know all the angles and how to actually address it. So thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.
So Cody, for our viewers watching, what is the biggest mistake or something that they just don't know about trying to get a loan in this market?
I would say the biggest mistake that a veteran makes whenever they begin the home buying process is they disqualify themselves out of the gate. They don't talk to a lender. They don't talk to a realtor. Maybe they heard from somebody who discouraged them, and now, they're not applying, so they don't get to peel back the curtain and see whether they qualify or not.
Cody, there's one of the myths out there that, hey, my credit, if I'm a VA, my credit's not good enough. What is the true value of that? Because I know there shouldn't be a level, but there's other criteria that come into play.
Yeah, so there's no credit score requirement on a VA loan. That's a huge misconception. We do check credit. So credit is like the bouncer at the door. We're basically making sure that the most recent 12 months, they have satisfactory credit and that everything looks good and checks out.
I mean, we always say that there's hacks to the VA or the different ways. What you guys do is just specialize in trying to figure out the way to get people qualified that they might not know about. So what would you say some of those, VA hacks that are out there that nobody knows about?
My favorite one, my absolute favorite VA hack is that a veteran can use seller credit and incentives in order to pay off debt that they currently have or possess. And that's awesome. I've had some veterans be able to use the incentives being offered by builders and credits coming in from sellers in order to pay off cars. I've had some veterans pay off, outstanding student loan debt. And a lot of times this is high interest rate debt that they're able to pay off. Makes it 10 times more affordable. Right. And a lot of the times it works out better than buying down that interest rate.
Which is really interesting because we're Military City, USA, so we know about the BAHs and all that kind of stuff. But it's important to know what your benefits are. And if you don't know, you got to get with a qualified professional to figure out where you're going to start from, right? Because you want to make sure, number one, you can afford it. But number two, it's home ownership, right? It should be attainable by all military families.
Well, I think a lot of military members, they have to understand that BAH does not stand for Basic Allowance for Housing. It stands for Buy House, first and foremost. So I think as military members, so many of them get caught in just the habit of, let me live on base, let me live on base, let me live on base, instead of going out and saying, well, what would it look like if I lived off base and purchased a home?
So then can somebody, and I'm glad you mentioned living on base and versus now, because if people start PCSing and they might be in San Antonio for 2 years and they get relocated to Orlando, Florida or something like that, some of the misconception is, well, I'm not going to be here forever, so why make some roots here and take advantage of that entitlement? I mean, what would you say to that?
I would say if it's not going to be here, then where is it going to be at? Is it going to be after you've served for 20 years? Then at the age of, 38 or your early 40s, are you then going to buy?
Right.
But what you can do is you can actually do a little bit of a house hack and purchase in each market that you're in. Make sure that when you PCS out, the rental income is going to offset that mortgage payment. Right. And then you're building a real estate portfolio at every duty station that you move to.
With that being said, I think you hit the next question is you could have multiple VA loans in.
Absolutely. I have some military members that have 3 loans out currently. And it's a little bit of a rinse and repeat cycle. I've seen military members really build a significant amount of wealth. Of course, you still have to do your research. Right. It's not just, this easy thing where it's going to work 100% of the time. You got to look at the market that you're purchasing in. Obviously, if you're buying a house in Hawaii and it's a $600,000 house in Hawaii and you're trying to rent that property out, you kind of got to look at some numbers there. So, but here in San Antonio, I mean, we're blessed that affordability is still something that's very attainable here. So, purchasing a home here, renting it out, once you PCS to the next station is very doable.
Which takes me to my next question, the entitlement portion of what each city or each state has. You mentioned Hawaii. Their entitlements are a lot higher because the cost of living is a lot higher. So here in San Antonio, what is it, 800, 806 is kind of what our limit is. Sir. Will you explain to them what that truly means?
Yeah, so what entitlement is basically you have 806, 500 right here in San Antonio, Texas, and that is the cap of VA loan that you can have. So if you go out and you buy 3 houses at $250,000 a piece, that's $750,000 that you've used up in VA entitlement. It works a little bit differently than that, but that's the gist of it.
The gist of it. And if you say you had a house for $400 and you bought let's say a 500, you can still get the loan in place. You just got to figure out an offset for the gap over 806, right? Okay, so with all that being said, that's how you start building that rental history, or even purchasing something here and then going to another state and re-entitling it, right?
Exactly.
So explain this one. You have a VA home and you're getting ready to sell it. What happens to it? Do you get the entitlement back?
You just restore your entitlement. It's
And,
easy.
and that makes it easy for you guys to offset and relocate them into another area. Now, what about combining VA loans? Can you do that? Say your spouse is VA as well or military. Can you combine VA entitlements, or are they independents? How does that work?
So you can combine, let's say, my spouse has a home and I have a home, both VA, and we need to combine our entitlement together in order to purchase our third home. You can definitely do that. In the state of Texas, what's hers is yours and what's yours is
Yeah,
hers.
exactly. Smart man. Recently married, by the way, so he's learning that pretty quick. So do you, the biggest thing is, especially in our climate that we're living in, VA is definitely zero down, right? As long as you have the entitlement, but there's other costs that are in play. But that's what's so good about the market today, because of all the extra concessions that are offered to, buyers in general, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the deal that you're going to get today is, it's insane. The incentives you're going to get, the discounts that people are getting, we're starting to see the pendulum swing back to affordability.
Right.
And so I personally believe that this is the best time for a military member to buy. Of course, do your research. Get with a trusted professional. Do your research together with them. I think that today, more and more people are just jumping in a car and going to look at houses.
Sure.
Without really, really talking about not only an entrance strategy, but also an exit strategy for the future when they PCS.
What I really like about REV is they built a lot of partnerships with builders. So a lot of times people say, well, I would love to do this, but I won't be able to take advantage of some of these great incentives. But I mean, you have a lot of partners that you work with that you could still get those benefits and it roll over to where you're able to help the vet, right?
Absolutely. What I love about San Antonio is that the builders here, they really have a heart to serve military members. Each and every single builder, VP, division president that I've talked to, some of the owners, they want to help. So they want to put together an amazing home with a great deal that a military member is going to be able to afford and is also going to help build them into the future.
So speaking about building, we talked about new homes, resale homes, things like that, but are there any kind of restrictions on what the VA entitlement can be used for?
Yes. So, the VA loan is not for, a fixer-upper. You got to make sure that that home is safe and suitable for the veteran to live in. It's got to be, for the most part, move-in ready. In the event that there is some unlicensed permits or, things that were done around the house. I'll give you an example, right? Let's say they built in a second floor without permits. That's probably not going to fly.
Okay.
So there are a few qualifications that have to be met, and we just have to make sure it's safe and suitable for the veteran and their family to live in.
Which is essentially just like you just said, making sure that when the vet takes over the possession of that home, that they're not going to be upside down or they're not going to be bleeding out because now they got to fix sewer lines or whatever might pop up
Exactly.
On the forefront. So, you've hit a lot. You definitely sound like you know what you're talking about.
Little bit.
You've been doing this for a long, long time. But what advice would you give to the service members trying to just pull back the curtain and say, okay, I think 2025, 2026 is going to be the year that I actually use my entitlements? Give them the spiel.
I would say that the number one thing that service members should do, whether you're in the market today or you're in the market in 3 years, sit down with a trusted real estate professional, someone that has years of experience, somebody that really knows what they're doing, start to finish, and just have a conversation. Open up the dialogue and start getting educated on how to use your benefits. In the event that you'd like to, we also have VA educational seminars and briefings. We have them online. We also have them in person at our office once a month. And so we would love to have you out here and check out more information on how to utilize your VA home loan benefit.
I love that. And not only that, the people that think they can't afford, you'll show them that maybe affordability is a lot closer than they think, or you could guide them on a step-by-step with what to do to get there, right?
That's the absolute number one thing that we see across the board is people walking through our doors and they leave saying, wow, I wish I would have known sooner. It's amazing how affordable the VA home loan benefit is and how easy it makes it for people to purchase homes. With that being said, I love America. I love our people. And it's sometimes sad to see people come in and, this is something they should have done 10 years ago. But at least seeing them do it for the first time is really impactful and makes me love what I do.
Real quickly, you just hit something that I didn't ask before. Veterans have sometimes disability ratings, right? And I think a lot of people, in different parts of the country, because they don't, San Antonio is just, and Texas is unique where we love our vets, but in other parts of the country, they don't have exceptions for things like that. So for us here in town, what is the big benefit to moving, retiring, or doing anything here in San Antonio because of how good Texas is to our veterans?
The exemptions that get coupled with homestead exemptions. When you receive disability, you get additional exemptions for property taxes on your home. These exemptions go from $100 to $200 to completely exempting you for thousands of dollars in property taxes a year. So it's significant. I mean, we have some, veterans that are coming in, and what should be a $2,500 mortgage payment ends up being $1,800.
Sure, because you take away the tax obligation if they're 100%, which is probably the biggest ticket and eye opener for people, because then they're like, wow, I wouldn't be able to afford this unless I had that rating. So Cody, one of the big things I love about what you guys do is y'all actually invite the veteran into your house, right? Into your office, and y'all give a whole bunch of information. Y'all call it the Builder Summit, correct?
Correct. And the Builder Summit, it's phenomenal. We bring all the best builders in San Antonio under one roof. And these builders are able to showcase what's different about them and also showcase all the incentives that they offer military members. And on top of that, we always have a trusted real estate professional there. And, thankfully you've blessed us with just your knowledge and also blessed our community with it.
Well, it's always fun to get together with lenders and the builders, right? Because then you're able to see, okay, well, these builders are offering the vets X amount of money, and then you could figure out how to use that money to offset their mortgage payments by XYZ, how to get them the best deal. And I think that's the best part of it is you guys utilize a system that says, if we do X, Y, and Z, this is what you could actually be paying. And then their eyes just get big, and it's like, wow, things are actually in line with everything that's going on. So I love that.
It works out great. We have a lot of great partners in the real estate community. We love our builder partners. And we really love working with the Schrader Group and everything that you guys have brought to our military members.
Not to mention all the builders that you guys represent. So it also helps back end it and say, hey, these are our preferred guys that work with us or gals that work with us. And, it gives them that perspective that's out there. So Cody, we do a lot of listings, right? And I'm always in houses all day long. And I ask questions like, okay, what kind of financing did you get? And then they say either FHA, sometimes they say conventional. And I ask, well, have you ever used your entitlement? And they say, well, no, the last lender said this was the best way to go. So I think a lot of people are just, not aware, or sometimes they're scared in that position to go another route. Is there a particular reason why that would happen?
Believe it or not all lenders are VA approved lenders.
Okay.
And so, unfortunately, we see this happen all the time. We see military members that were put into the wrong loan program, whether it was FHA or conventional, not knowing that VA is a supreme product and works 10 times better in 99% of the cases. So it's definitely a question that every military member should ask, are you a VA-approved lender? And they have to understand their benefits just out of the gate. Right,
which is super important, especially for us here in San Antonio. But I think that's key because, you sign up to serve, you should get all your benefits, and that to have that as an option is a disservice to them, I would say.
Absolutely. When we see veterans paying, PMI or, they have a higher interest rate than they should have, we know automatically, oh, they got tangled with the wrong lender.
Now, speaking of PMI and all that stuff, is there something that vets are never supposed to be paying?
So PMI would be the number one thing that a veteran should never be paying for on a VA loan. Mm-hmm. PMI stands for private mortgage insurance. It's something that comes into effect on FHA and conventional loans.
And that's one of the things that helps save a couple $100s a month. Right?
Oh, absolutely. Especially for the lifetime of the loan. It's thousands.
Tons of great information. Where can they find you to get more information or even set up and sign up for that seminar that y'all host?
Absolutely. So you can go to REVMortgage.com. That is our website. That'll lead you to our seminars. That'll lead you to me and my page as well. You can also reach me on my cell or at my email address. We will place it in the description below.
Well, there you have it. Thank you, Cody, for helping us and shining light on the VA entitlements and all the benefits that come along with that. We hope you got some nuggets from this. Please follow and subscribe to our channel. Thank you all so very much. Have a blessed day.